So we're going to talk about Jordan Peterson being brought up on charges in Canada. You know, this is really sickening if you listen to his story. Jordan Peterson, well, in Canada, you can be brought up on charges in your profession if people make complaints or lodge complaints against you in certain professions. And then a government agency decides if these complaints are valid, and then they come up with a solution. And for Jordan Peterson, he was told that he would have to go to social media training. And if he didn't go to social media training, then he would have to go before a board that could revoke his license. Now, Jordan Peterson, when he was a professor in Harvard, Princeton, and all the colleges, he has never had a complaint lodged against him ever in all of his years of teaching from any students. And the amazing thing about the complaints that were made about him, none of the people that made complaints were actual students of his. Matter of fact, they lied on the paperwork and said that at one time they were students of his, which is an absolute lie. So with that being said alone, these charges should have been thrown in the garbage can. But of course they weren't, because once Jordan Peterson started to talk about politics and he started to become political, and he has conservative which first of all, I don't even consider it conservative viewpoints. I call it sane viewpoints, right? Because liberals are insane at this point. So some of the comments that Jordan Peterson made was he doesn't agree at all with children going to doctors who are who are butchering their genitals because some sicko nutjob parent that had a boy really gave birth to a boy, really wanted to have a daughter. And this nut job brings the kid to the doctor saying, oh, he wants to be a girl, and gets his penis removed. This is what we're talking about. These are the types of things that we're talking about when we talk about liberalism and progressives. And he was also saying that he feels that once he went on the Joe Rogan show and said that he doesn't believe in climate change, this is when this whole thing exploded. Now look, I don't know all the facts on climate change, and I don't care what the facts are on climate change. I know that he has the right to say that, just like you have the right to say it, just like I have the right to say it. Whether I agree or disagree, we all have the right to agree or disagree. It's irrelevant whether you think the matters are false, true. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. So Peterson is going to be forced to go to a reprogramming camp. Let this sink in. A reprogramming camp. And you want to know why? Because they know, liberals know, and progressives know that Jordan Peterson has a huge following. He has millions of followers. And he could sway those followers to see the truth that the left is totally insane and their ideology is sick, it's insane, it's twisted, it's disgusting, it's a lot of things, right? Your job as a psychiatrist, when somebody comes to you and you could tell that their parents are total nut jobs, that how do you give birth to a newborn baby and you call your newborn baby a transgender baby? Because if that came out of your mouth and I was your psychiatrist, I'd have to make some phone calls for that child to be removed from your home. I don't care who says what. I don't care what you write me, threats on YouTube. I'm not a coward. So you could do all the threats you want. If you don't like the truth, too bad. If there's only two genders, if your wife or girlfriend gave birth to a son, it's that baby, that child is always going to be a boy. Just like if your girlfriend or wife gave birth to a girl, that child will always be a female. So you can give her all the whatever drugs that you want, her DNA will always be that of a female. These people are sick. It's sick. You know, Jordan Peterson also, the initial charge for Jordan Peterson is re-education. The initial charge for Jordan Peterson is he's a disgrace to his profession. Let this madness sink into your brain for a second. Truly think about what I'm saying. Now liberals in Canada have came up with a charge that you can be a disgrace to your profession because you don't agree with liberal talking points, which are insanity. You know, liberals always like to hide behind this vice that they're so compassion. They're not compassionate whatsoever. It's a vice. It's a lie. They hide under the umbrella of being compassionate people. They have no tolerance for anybody else that does not agree with their political views, with their agenda, with their sick view of the world. So they're about as compassionate as North Korea. You know, they're about as compassionate as communist Cuba. That's how compassionate they are. So this is my biggest problem with liberals. Most of them would agree with what's going on with Jordan Peterson. It's disgusting what's going on with Jordan Peterson. And this is why it's hard. Like, even if there was a candidate that was a Democrat that I thought was a good person or a good representative of liberals, why I could probably never get behind that person. Because a majority of that party thinks, acts, walks and talks just like the bunch of psychopaths that are trying to prosecute Jordan Peterson because he's telling the truth that there's only two genders, that babies shouldn't be butchered, at least let them grow to be 21, 22 years of age before they decide to have surgeries. He doesn't believe in the climate nut jobs, who go around and, there's all these other things in the climate bill that have nothing to do with the climate whatsoever, and he doesn't agree with it. So what? That's his right. Just like it's your right. Just like it's your right to think that what he's saying is wrong. Just like it's my right to think that what he's saying is right. But you're going to try to silence the man, and you're going to try to take away his profession. That's what a spineless coward worm you are. You're going to try to take away the man's profession because he doesn't agree with you. And forget Canada. This is what goes on in America, right? This goes on all the time in America, where liberals can do and say whatever they want, and as soon as somebody makes a valid point that's conservative and goes against what they're saying, they want him fired from his job. They want to ruin his life. They want to, slander him. They want to try to dig up all the skeletons in that person's closet. It's just typical liberalism. They believe in freedom of speech until you disagree with them. They're all about the children, right? The children. We're here to save the children. You're here to save the children? You're here to save a newborn that you think a newborn has the brain capacity to switch their gender? Is this what we're talking about? If I brought this back, 20 years ago and you had this conversation with anybody, they would think that you're totally insane and probably commit you to a psychiatric facility. But here in 2023, where liberals make everything difficult, there's 76 genders. There's not 76 genders. There's 2 genders. Get over it. What are we going to tell all these people that we don't want to hurt their feelings because they identify as a cat? They identify as a baby. You know what you need to tell them? Listen, there's 2 genders and you need to get over it, and you need to act like an adult, and you need to act like a human. And If that means that you need to go to counseling, or that means, you need to be locked up in a mental institution, then goodbye. You're not going to contaminate the rest of the population with your stupidity, because that's what it is. It's insanity. You're stupid and you're ignorant. So if you want to live in a fairy tale land, knock yourself out. Other people choose not to live in a fairy tale land, and I'm one of them. And so is Jordan Peterson. With that being said, remember to subscribe to Fortis Monty.